Hi everyone, Jacqueline Vasquez, CEO of Weddings Beautiful Worldwide. Thank you for joining us today on another webinar episode of Elevate Your Brand with Weddings Beautiful Worldwide. Today we're excited to be sharing a conversation in a three-part series that we had with one of our graduates and member, Janel Bailey Keene. She is the CEO and founder of Vivid Expressions. The conversation will entail everything from her journey, from training to her journey and setting her foundation to where she is today. So tune in and we hope that you're able to take away some important features that can help you in your business.
Do you want to add anything else in reference to your journey and any a tip that you would like to share with anyone looking to take a training or just looking to get
Oh
into the
yeah.
industry?
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously, Weddings Beautiful is the foundation that you
Mhm.
should build your knowledge and business on. But once you have that foundation, then you make it your own. You make your business your own. You build your own house. And the vision for your house when you start your course and start your journey may not be where your house ends up, but it's still going to be a gorgeous house because it's all you. And that being said, what I've been doing the last 2 3 years, actually, just even before 2020, I think 2019, 2018, I looked back and I thought again to myself, I love what I do. I love the journey I've taken. I've learned so much, and I want to help other people along their journey, especially if they want to go and fall into the area and the niche I'm in. So I started doing classes, and first I did some small classes and small coaching and little things like that. And over the last year, 2 years now, I have been offering a design course.
Mm.
And my design course, it takes what I've learned from the wedding and events industry, as well as the things that I learned prior to working here and in this industry. And honestly, the biggest impact for me has been, um, if you look at almost any other design industry, there's a process called the design process that's used. And you see it in architectural design, you see it in engineering, you see it in fashion design, you see it in product design like lamps, where you start off with, it's really a 5-step process. And you start off with your what they call the ideation process, and the getting, well, first getting that the information gathering process, getting that big picture idea of your clients needs and their preferences and their wants and their needs and desires, and really just gathering about as much information as you can, as well as asking those questions about what's important to them and how that works for them. And then the next stage is what I like to call the epiphany stage. And that's where you're brainstorming and you're getting all that information. And yeah, you can bring in like Pinterest boards or mood boards and kind of get ideas of what their preferences are. And then I take it a step further and I actually do concept drawings and illustrations. I do illustrations of what the actual bouquet is going to look like, an actual ceremony site's going to look like, or what the tablescapes are going to look like an interior designer sketches a
I love
design.
those. Yes.
And that's crucial for communicating with whomever I'm working with. Obviously communicating it to the clients when I show them the designs, either they love it or maybe they want to tweak some things, but that becomes a blueprint for creating. And that's the blueprint we use for ordering products and making sure we're in the right color schemes, and all the different vendors are on the same page. And what's really cool about that is, I like to say that, as much as I love a good mood board or Pinterest board, it's like if you rely on that too much, the client gets really, sometimes they just can't see it, or they have questions, or they're just really not kind of sure about it. So it's kind of like, having, it's like, giving somebody a bunch of different ingredients, but not really having the recipe. So when you have that design sketch, you have the recipe, and that's what all the vendors are working from. The caterers working from it, the florists working from it, the venues working from it. And that takes us to the next stage, so that once we have that vision, we can break it down. We can break down not just how many vases we need, but how many how many quicksand roses and how many orchids. We can break that down, and that goes into pricing and going and getting the product and shipping the product in and all those things. We can break everything down. And then lastly, it goes into a smooth production process because everybody can work from the same vision.
You also do coaching.
Yes, yes. I do creative coaching, design coaching, and I do courses. I have a design course where I walk you through that 5-step process. And in the midst of that 5-step process, I teach anyone, and I mean anyone, how to do sketches for their client presentations.
And when you
And
say anyone, I'm sorry to
I
interrupt you,
mean
but like
anyone.
anyone who has never picked up a pencil to
Anyone. I have lots of different methods and even some other and some really cool tips and tricks we use, but it's all about creating that look and creating a vision for them. So we go through that whole process, and then I break it down even further to, this is how this is how you kind of break down that design, and this is how you write it up, and this is how you create what we call in the floral industry, we call it a recipe, ironically
yes,
enough.
yes.
And and that way you can do your counts, and how many orders of, how many bunches of roses and what type of roses, so you can break all that down and have that all itemized, so you can like basically deconstruct that vision into its parts, and that way you can take those parts and create it. So
Awesome.
it's really like taking a puzzle apart and putting it back together. So I do offer that. I do a lot of design, visuals, creative confidence, and that's
What is
all
that
kind of.
about?
Creative confidence is I know a lot. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard people say, "Well, I can't draw stick figures," or "I'm not creative."
Uh-huh.
And innovation comes from creativity, and there's not one advance in human history that did not come from a creative idea that kind of made its way out into the world. And human beings have a left brain and a right brain, a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere to the brain. We all do. I think at some point we kind of start judging ourselves so much to the point when you're a little kid drawing, you don't care, you just draw.
You just draw and yep.
Yeah, but then the outside world starts putting expectations on us, and it puts a creative block there. And I help people release their creative blocks.
Love it.
I actually, and amongst the different things I've learned over the years, I became a neuro-linguistics practitioner, which means I know how to kind of talk people through kind of undigging what is it that's blocking you from thinking this particular way, or how can we open your thought process, or open up the way you think about your creative skills. And I help people kind of unleash their inner creative artists.
I love it. That is amazing. And when do you have a course coming up soon?
I do have a full course coming up. Usually I have it right at the beginning of the year, so January-ish. But I also want to but I don't just say, okay, here's the course and you're on your own. I want to walk people through it. And I also like to talk to people just to kind of, kind of see where they're at. And if I'm not the right fit for them, I am more than happy to point them in the right direction.
Awesome.
So I like to invite people to join me for what I call a brilliance breakthrough. And I'll share the link.
I love
to that.
all the titles that you use because they're motivators, because this is what we need nowadays.
Yes.
And throughout understanding the journey, the expectations need, a pat in the back.
Exactly.
Before we even proceed to please our clients, we need a pat in our back.
Yes.
To understand, what could block us, or what is blocking us from being the most amazing at what we do ourselves.
Exactly.
What is our true unique quality identifier? I have that in my book, because you have to find not what everyone else is doing, but what is your unique quality identifier.
Exactly. I call it a brilliance breakthrough because I believe that everybody has a zone of brilliance within us. It's just outside that comfort zone. That I think there's a quote, and another quote, I can't remember who wrote it or where I heard it from, but it says, the walls of your comfort zone are lovingly decorated with all of your excuses. So once you
Wow.
open the door and get out of that comfort zone, that's where your brilliance is at. And
Mm.
like you said, everybody has a unique qualifier. I say they have, they're just a unique zone of brilliance, and not one person on earth is the exact same. We all see things through different perspectives. We all have different experiences. We all have different, talents and skills. And whatever it is that you have been blessed with, what you have inside you that's
Mhm.
unique to you, somebody out there is in desperate need of it.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
waiting for it. They're
Yes.
waiting for it. So it's a matter of just finding out what it is and how can we showcase it, and how can we
Mm.
make that the cornerstone, or actually make it the north star of your business. I mean,
That is
that's,
so true.
I think a lot of people get this whole idea of competition, but I'd say it's colleagues over
Colleagues,
competition,
community. Yes,
community,
colleagues. Yes.
that's all part of it. And if you step into your unique zone of genius, your brilliance, that's just you, and highlight it, there's nobody else that can touch that.
And no one
That's
can take that away from you.
nobody.
It's yours, and that's it. You may think you see somebody else doing something
Nope.
similar,
They don't do it the
but
same way you do.
when I say exactly, when it's you, unique to you, then that's what it is.
Exactly. Now, I encourage everybody
Connect.
to connect with me. As a matter of fact, I want to do a pre-course, coaching session. And as a matter of fact, if you schedule one, I'll give you the link. If you schedule a pre-coaching session, we'll talk about it. We'll figure out where your zone of brilliance
Awesome.
is, and I even have how to highlight your brilliance checklist. And
Awesome.
I'll give it as a free download, and it's specific, and I'll do it
Awesome.
specifically for you guys, for us here at Weddings Beautiful. So, this is something I've been thinking about. Businesses, being an entrepreneur, and that's essentially what we are. We're entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
We have a passion for what we do.
Mm.
We do this not because it's just a way to make a quick buck. It's because we are literally driven to serve people and be a part. We have the luxury and the blessing
Mm.
of living a different fantasy every weekend.
Oh,
What other
yes.
industry can say that? So, but we also face a lot of pressure. We
Yes.
also face a lot of, a lot of questions and trials and tribulations and things like that. And it happens, in any business. But I want everybody to remember that with pressure comes strength. With pressure,
Mm.
you are not you are forged in fire sometimes, and
I
that
like that.
pressure and fire. And after it's all said and done, you shine bright,
Hmm.
and you are worth your weight in diamonds.
Mm. I love that. That's an amazing ending. I'll leave it right there because just I'm just seeing all the sparkles. That's all I'm saying. I'm seeing
Yes,
all the sparkles. So
yes,
Janelle, thank you so much. I wish you an amazing journey ahead of you because I'm sure you have so much that is coming in your path with your journey, your business, your growth. I see, where you're at now, and I'm looking forward to, you know, even connecting and partnering because
yes,
like I said,
100%.
I when I transitioned, I it took some time to really
Yeah.
find those great partnerships and really say, okay, I'm not going to do this. Delegation, you said, right?
Yes.
And saying to yourself, no, no,
Hmm.
you decided on selecting something, then
Hmm.
that's what you're going to stick with. Now you have to find these great relationships and partnerships to do everything else.
Hmm.
So thank you
And
so much.
trust the process.
And
Trust
trusting the
the
process.
process.
Yes, yes.
So
So
important.
yes. Thank you so much for sharing all of this information, your journey, and then where you're at now. And I'm going to share, that for Weddings Beautiful students and members, if you're interested, reach out to Janelle because there are some special offers that she has for Weddings Beautiful members and students. So please, I'm going to share the link. It'll be below in the content of the blog or the YouTube or social media. So be sure to connect with Janelle. Thank you again, Janelle, and I
Oh, my
wish you
joy.
all best.
Thank you.
Always
My
great to see
joy.
you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in and stay tuned for our next episode.